Recorded live in Balcatta, Western Australia, the Hoon capital of the world, this is Talkin' Power.
Gap is what happens when you hold to the floor and crush the man next to you. There's space in between your back lumbar and your front lumbar. We, in the South, we refer to it as the gap band.
Well, I think, Formula One is for grown-ups.
Shut the grade on this one, Rex. Here's the guts.
When we start following the move, Tom is Reynolds and players back into the championship!
Yes, listen, please, 51 words.
Previously.
So, what about the sideways? You've got a race in your own lane. Now he's on the grass, he brings it back. That's a great driving there.
Torque and Power, your motoring and motorsport podcast.
Episode 47 of the Talk and Power podcast. I'm Nick DeCembra and I'm here with Simon Gonzo Travellini. Simon, how are you?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Oh, very good, thanks. Very good. Hey, we've got another interview tonight.
We do.
We are talking with, I'm going to call you the Thunder from Down Under, because that's what the Irish like to call you, Mitch Larner. How are you, Mitch?
Hey man, how you going?
We're well. Hey, Mitch, for those listeners that aren't really familiar with what you've done, you've basically turned the world of drifting on its head over in Ireland, Britain, and of course in WA as well. You're a WA boy, but you're making it pretty big over in the island in the IDC. How did you get started in drifting, and how did that all come about?
So about I can't remember exactly when what year it was, but when I was about 15, one of Mum and Dad's customers from WA Performance came in and told us that he was going to go try some drifting, and I seemed to get along with him when he was at the workshop, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to come? Just come down." Yeah. And that was actually a VK with a 308 back in the day, and I'm only 22 now, so that's only 7 years ago. But that was obviously before all the LS conversions were a big thing, and we went down, and he tried it with a 308, and unfortunately it blew up really straight away. But that's where the whole idea come from, where we decided that an LS could be a good idea to convert into a car, obviously because my dad works for LSs every day. Yep. So he then converted a VK, and he tried drifting the VK for a while, and then obviously a more preferable car in drifting at the time and still today is the Japanese cars. So Skyline, Silvias and Toyotas and stuff. So then he had another idea to try put an LS into a Skyline, and then from there it just rocket shipped. And then by the time I could get my CAMS license, which is 16 and a half, I got my CAMS license straight away, and we bought a car, and we started at 16 and a half, and now 6 years on, I'm still going.
So the seed was planted at 15?
Pretty much, yeah. So I've grown up obviously all my life, and my dad's been a part of cars since I can remember. And if it wasn't with cars, it was with go-karts. And obviously once I was old enough to recognise and want to do something, drifting was what caught my eye more than anything else.
So just talk us through how you ended up from the drifting scene in WA over to Ireland, because it seems incredible to like such a massive jump to get from here over there.
Yep, definitely. So I did my first competitive season at the age of 17. I only had a pretty basic car. I had 250 horsepower and just very minor mods. And I just went out there and gave it a crack. Did a couple of practice days beforehand, nothing too much. Obviously, I just got my license as well. I don't think I actually had my license when I first went to my first drift comp. But we just went down there with a very basic package and gave it a crack, and we had pretty promising results straight from the off. We got a top 4 finish in my third competition event, and then a national series came to Perth called the Australian Drifting Grand Prix, and they had their 4th and final national round to Australia, and I was lucky enough to be able to compete in that. And we managed to qualify with the same car with low power. I think it was 21st or something like that out of 32. So all national drivers from around Australia, and obviously once we started getting results, we figured if we put a bit more time and money into it, can only really get better. And so I just kept pushing, and then obviously it took a bit of time and learning and whatnot to get the results. And then we got 2 championships here in Australia, or in Perth. And once we had 2 championships here, it was kind of the question of what do we do next. There was no point really going around in circles doing the same thing. And that's where we decided we can either go over east and compete in Australia still, or we can look at other options. And obviously when you're looking drifting in the whole wide world, you look at the main biggest leagues, and Australia's obviously on the map, but I felt like it was a little bit behind where the rest of the world is at the moment. And for the cost that it's going to cost us, we just figured in some major sense, if we could get some sponsors and we could get to know the right people, we could make it doable on the other side of the world. And enough, I got in contact with the right people, and in 2016, I made the trek over to Ireland for the first time, and we borrowed a car. We walked in not really knowing anybody, and we learned a lot, and it just mainly gave us an insight into what drifting is over there, what the cars are like, what the competition's like itself, and just got a massive wake-up call to where drifting is compared to where it is in Australia, and it was just a completely different ballgame. And once I was there, we came home, and I actually had another drift round as soon as I got home, and it just wasn't the same thing once I'd already been there. Like, I didn't get a good result or anything like that over there. I qualified towards the bottom, obviously just with a new car, and not quite the setup that I normally run, or even at the same time they run full-on 265 semi-slicks, which I'd never run here in Australia. So just everything was a major jump. So it was a big wake-up call and big difference in experience to just experience something like that, and then to come back and feel like I just wasn't the same. So that's where we decided that with the help of a lot of people, obviously my mum and dad, D1WA Performance, Lost Racing, TAW Performance, we got an engine combo and stuff like that, and we purchased a car in Ireland. It was already pretty much basically set up. I took out all the things that I didn't like in it and put all the products in that I wanted to, like the front end suspension and rear suspension and stuff like that. And we also sent over an LS, which was built by my dad and TAW, and with all the fittings and support from Lost Racing as well. And we sent it all over in a crate. Then we flew out 2 weeks before round 1 in 2017, and we built a car in, I think it was 11 days all up, from a bare shell to a rolling shell with this rear suspension. And we put front suspension, full wiring, fuel system, and an engine and gearbox package and tail shaft and everything together in 11 days.
Yeah.
And then,
wow. That's incredible.
and then we got to the track, and obviously we had a lot of teething issues from the off. That was the only downside that we knew we were going to probably face, was that obviously rushing a build like that it might bite us. And that weekend was just obviously the same thing. We're still trying to learn the competition over there, still trying to learn everything. But from what we learned the year before when we went over for one round, we knew the car obviously had to be quite serious. So I can get into the car a little bit later, but just long story short, we obviously found teething issues all year the year before, and we were put out. Well, from the first round, we finished in the top 16. I qualified high. I think I qualified 4th or 3rd. And then, so we knew that we were like on par with the car, and we knew like we did have a chance, obviously qualifying high. And then in the battles, we just had a silly mistake, and we didn't actually have a catch can on the car, and it sprayed oil all over the front of the front wheels because we got cut-out tubs in the front.
Yep.
And just major understeer, so it put us off in the first one. And then round 2, qualified high again, and got through to the top 8. And I think it was like a 6th place finish for the second round. And then round 3, we found more issues just within the steering and stuff. Had still a good round of qualifying, and got put out in the first battle again. And then round 4, we finally made a bit of a breakthrough, qualified first. That was actually the track we went to in 2016 for the first time. And qualified first, looked very promising, and then got through, car caught fire in the top 16, so it looked like it was going to be over early. But we managed to fix what got burnt and got back out there for the second half of the battle and won the battle. And then went on to the top 4, where obviously, so you don't know how drifting works. It's basically you qualify, and then there's a top 32 battle through.
Yep.
And 1 versus 32, 2 versus 31, 3rd versus 30th, etc. And all of your works its way down to a final 4. And then in the final 4, I was obviously placing to go into the final or for 3rd place. and the guy that I was versing ran into me and damaged my steering rack and was unable to be fixed, so we actually didn't retire in fourth place, even though it looked very promising to that round. So, so we got on quite a high, and then into round 5, we qualified high. So the last round is actually the round where a lot of international drivers come to, and the biggest names in drifting come to, and we managed to secure first place in qualifying up until the last 2 drivers, which was James Dean and Peter Vinchik. Both former drift competitors, and both placed first and third in former drift this year.
Yep.
And they managed just to pick me up right at the end in qualifying, and then in the first battle we just made a mistake and put ourselves up, and the season over. And then this year we had a great year. We're on the podium every single round, and so I don't want to cut that short, but I've obviously been talking sort of a bit, but this season, obviously, we knew what we had to do this year. We went home, or we put the car away and wrote down a big list of what we wanted to change for the year when we came back. Obviously, for me, it felt like in the first season I didn't get to let out what I had and show our potential completely in the season. We were just chasing our tail with the car most of the round. And when the car worked and when I got comfortable with the car, we showed that we could place up higher. So coming into this season, IDC this year, I drove as much as I could in the off-season. Actually made myself a goal to drive once a week, which I completed up until May this year. I drove once a week since December. Whether it was burnouts or drifting or go-karting or something, I just tried to be behind the wheel or something once a week, at least. And so that kept my driving up to scratch, and obviously hungry to keep driving. And then my parents and some more new sponsors that come on board, Turbo Direct, new tyre sponsors, Vestino, they came on board, which made me more comfortable with tyres. It gave me the perfect grip I needed for the car.
Yep.
And then, this season, like I say, we podiumed every single round. We qualified high every round, and we just got picked. I was chasing the championship all year. I was in second place, while the guy that was getting first was he won the first 4 rounds. So it was more just a bit of a cat and mouse trying to chase him for the whole season, and then right at the end, I still had a chance to win the championship. So the round 3 and 4, I actually placed second, so we made it to the final in all of them. And the points running 25 points at the final round. And so he obviously qualified bad and got knocked out early. I still had a chance at winning. And I just tried to keep composed. And we qualified high and made it through to the finals and got 3rd place, but unfortunately got knocked out early enough to claim the championship, so we ended up with second in the championship this year.
Yeah, mate, that unbelievable effort to go from starting in the space of 2 short years to finish second in the championship. That's just incredible, mate. But hats off to you guys. That's an awesome achievement. Now, the final against Dwayne. Now I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this properly. McKeever. Is that how?
Yep, that's right.
You're right.
Yep.
You came second. Nick and I think you may have been robbed on that one.
This is the $20,000
prize fight. Yeah.
I've watched that numerous times,
definitely.
and I was adamant. I'm no drifting judge, and please forgive me, the Irish Board of Drifting Judges that are listening to the podcast. But I was fairly adamant that you had that one, to be frank. But I know you probably can't talk much about it, but.
Yeah, it's one of them things, drifting's a judge sport, so sometimes, how I look at it, unfortunately, sometimes you're going to think that it doesn't pay off your ways, but we don't complain when we win, when we think we didn't deserve it. So, unfortunately, you're going to take the good with the sometimes the good with the bad.
It's a balanced competition, then, you say.
Literally.
Yeah, so, like I said, it's a judge sport, and unfortunately, you just got to try and pay attention to the drivers' briefings and try and do exactly what they want, and, it was a good weekend. Same thing. We qualified first and second, both of us, so we knew we were only going to get each other in the finals. And obviously to finally break through and get to the finals and have it in arm's reach and have a grand prize of $20,000 at the end, it felt like it was a bit surreal. And I said when we got to the line, I feel like if you were watching a live stream, I said I wasn't actually very nervous, and I wasn't. I was actually more enjoying the car that round because the car felt on point, and it was a good round for us. And I thought we were going to go the whole way, and funny enough, like I said, in my opinion, I think if anything, it should have gone one more time. And because obviously in drifting, there is a point where the judges think it's too close, they can call one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I made a couple of mistakes, and he made a couple of mistakes, and I just, I thought the right thing would have been one more time. I think the crowd would have loved to see us go one more time as well. But there is definitely a funny thing to that, because at the end of so I chased first, and going back on my memory now, he gapped me a slight little bit on the first corner, and I knew he gapped me, so I made the dive into the second corner, and I caught back up to him, and then made a ridiculous dive in the transition before he went onto the wall. And it looked like in the video footage that I hit the wall. So obviously in drifting, if you hit a wall, you get deducted obviously very high. But I actually had my steering jam on, and it pulled me in and made a little bobble. So while it looked like I hit the wall, I think they marked me down on actually hitting the wall and not having that straight.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference in point deduction for straightening and for hitting a wall. So I think that they deducted me for a wall hit instead of a straighten, and that's probably what pushed over the edge to get him the win, because his lead run was obviously, it wasn't a 100-point run, I don't personally think, but he did miss a couple of clipping points and was running a little bit in some spots, but we managed to obviously stick with him most of the run. And then same thing when I led, I gave it everything I had, and in my opinion, I think it was my best lead run of the weekend. And I think obviously I did gap him in some spots as well, but they said that in my chase, that straight was what really killed me. So I'll say, unfortunately, being a judge sport, sometimes you just take it and try harder next time, and just try not to leave it in their hands.
Well, listen, Mitch, if we're ever judging, don't worry, we'll have your back covered, right? So I want to talk about
people say they're a bit biased.
I want to talk about the final round of the British Drift Championship, right? You managed to qualify third, right? Now, just tell us how you got over there. How did that come about?
So at the time, the owners of the Irish Championship actually own the British Championship as well, and they fly across and run the events over there. And IDC and BDC, so that's Irish Championship and British Championship, they're both looked at as both fairly high and well-known, recognised championships in the world. And obviously, from a spectator's point and from a competitor's point, what I do is I look out and see what is the best championship in the world. And I sort of look at, like, obviously everybody that doesn't really know drifting knows what Formula Drift is in some way, or hear about it or watch it on TV or something. And Formula Drift is like the pinnacle of drifting. And then I look at it like there's IDC, BDC and Drift Masters. And they're the most four recognised drifting events in the world. So for me, obviously we fly to Ireland for 5 rounds for the year. And obviously having a very successful year. And I don't know, obviously if people don't know, Ireland and the UK are only a ferry away, and it's actually quite easy to travel between countries. It's only I think it was a 4.5 hour ferry ride. So we flew over to Ireland first to get my car. We prepped it and set it up before we left, and then we drove to the ferry, and then we had to get on the ferry, take the ferry across, which was 4.5 hours, and then drive to the track, which was another 6.5 hours driving. So in a quick breakdown, it was, when we leave Perth, it's a 10.5 hour flight for the first half of the flight. And then from Dubai to Ireland, it's another 9.5. So it's just about 20 hours in flying. And then we have to drive up to the north where my car's stored at Bradley Motorworks, who have been a great help this year as well, which have stored my car and stored us when we've been there.
That's Richard and Ursula Bradley?
Yep, that's correct. Yep. They own a performance workshop just like my dad, but they focus on more Skylines and the RB engines or any import engine, but yeah, mainly the Japanese stuff. And they've looked after us all year. So so that's a 3-hour drive from Dublin up to the north to them. And then to catch the ferry back, we actually had to drive back down south. So 6 hours in driving just in Ireland. And then on the ferry for 4.5. And then across, once we're in the UK, we had to go 6.5 to the track. And then obviously we did the event. And then Sunday night, we had to leave straight away to come back to the ferry because the ferry was at 2 a.m. in the morning. So we packed up instantly, grabbed the ferry. We just made it. We actually almost didn't make the ferry. and because I was travelling with the Shanahans. So we obviously had a truck to load 2 cars, double the set of wheels, double the set of tools, and all the rest of it. And we were the last ones to leave the track, and I think we left at like 7 or 8 p.m. And it was a 6.5 hour drive, and obviously driving a truck as well, and on the roads in Ireland and the UK aren't very good. So it was a mad rush to get back to the ferry, and we just made it before they closed.
That's insane.
And,
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. So we got on board at 2 a.m. and then took the ferry back across, and then drove back down to the Shanahan's place down south. So it's actually another 2.5 hours south in Cork. And then we unloaded and then loaded onto our van and then drove back up to the north and then packed the car away, and the next day drove back down to Dublin and took a flight home and flew another 20 hours. So in a week there was a lot of travelling.
Yeah. Let's just shift our focus over back to WA. You've recently just wrapped up the Drift 1 WA Championship. This is the 3rd year in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, that's right. We've taken the championship 3 times now.
So, I mean, just to explain to our listeners what sort of commitment it takes, because you're running 2 separate championships, 2 separate cars on opposite ends of the world. Like, I mean, can you just quantify that for our listeners?
So for me, a major thing, and a lot of the drivers and spectators pick up and say to me as well, is what they don't understand is that for me, like as well, I actually enjoy driving different cars and different power plants, different tyre setups, suspension setups, and the rest of it. Always have, and I think it might just be something that runs in the family, because a lot of people, if anyone knows who my dad is, he used to race in go-karts, and same thing, you'd always have the underpowered go-kart, but could still set the fastest lap record in the wet, and vice versa, and this could drive anything fast. So for me, I feel like I've kind of adapted the same ability in drift cars, and I can read a situation fast enough. And if I just have like 1 or 2 laps in the car, I should be able to pull a lap together, no worries. And like I say, it's the challenge of obviously having to learn a new car fast and obviously put on a show for spectators and do well. So, so I personally love driving different cars, and so to drive between 2 championships in 2 different cars, obviously they're both my own cars, I know them personally, so it's not too much of a challenge. But coming back and driving with different level of drivers as well, different layouts, different types of cars, different types of layouts as well. It's just challenging, and it's good, and it really allows me to push myself, and it's more practice as well. Like I looked at it this year as driving in the D1WA Championship was more practice. I wasn't really hunting a result. I was more just using it as practice for IDT. I just love competing, love the atmosphere, and just in general love drift events. Like I try not to miss any drift events and try and get to them all.
Can you tell us a bit about like D1WA, the Nissan S13? That's an LS-based with an LSA blower, is that correct? LS-based motor with an LSA. Is that similar to the R34 combination as well?
So when in my first year, when we first shipped my engine over, we sent over a complete LSA, which had it's had a couple of tweaks from my dad with a cam that he thought that would suit the combo that we needed. And he also got PAW to help with flowing the heads and getting the right valve springs and valves and whatnot, so it could be reliable and make decent power. A lot of people, obviously, that probably listening to this podcast know a fair bit about engines. So an LS engine makes a lot of torque down low. A Japanese engine that's normally in a Japanese car, they don't normally have any torque down low. So a lot of controversy in the world. I know a lot of people say the same thing in burnout scenes and drag racing, that LSs are cheating and whatnot. Obviously, LSs are a very basic engine, and they make power down low, and they're easier to make power. So we tried to actually take a bit of it out down low to gain more up top, so it drove a bit more like a Japanese car. Obviously, in drifting, a lot of people think it's just about being slippery and having it sliding out, but we've actually got our cars gripped up to the max, where they're almost picking up the front wheel when we're coming around corners, and run 265 semi-slicks on low pressures, and big winters diffs out of sprint cars, and sequential gearboxes and all the rest of it. So the car in Ireland runs at the moment, because we actually blew our engine up at round 2 this year. We sent over a high compression, it was a high compression, but we got it toned down just a little bit, 6-litre L98, and that's just rods, pistons, and bearings. and we put the LSA heads on with the LSA blower, and just with a little bit of boost, and obviously race fuel. And we managed to make, I think it was 721 horsepower, something like that, at the wheels.
Yep.
So, and LSA blower is obviously very, not a lot of people know that probably either, but LSA blower is limited to what they can physically make, obviously, because they're only a 1900 size blower.
Yeah, they're a very small blower, and those that try to overdrive them normally end up overheating the air that goes into the engine anyway. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we tried to basically have a reliable package and make decent power, and so we tried to keep the boost as low as possible, and we tried to go a cam that wasn't too aggressive and obviously not too lazy either. So having the high compression actually helped out a lot because it changed the way the boost goes. So with the boost pulleys we already had for the old engine.
Yep.
And it made more power down low, but it lost a little bit of torque down low as well. It was weird how it worked out, but it actually drove a lot nicer once we changed engines because we obviously built the engine not knowing what it was going to do because we never had any experience with those superchargers or engine combos. And once we knew what the old engine was like, we could make the slight adjustments in the cam and in the head gaskets and compression ratios to try and make it just drive that a little bit nicer.
So you guys built it locally and shipped it over. That must have been in a very short space of time. That's an incredible effort.
Yeah. Yep. So we blew the engine up, and obviously it was one of those situations where it's like it's not really doable because in Ireland there's not many LSs around, and the UK there isn't either. And if there is, they're usually quite expensive. So we didn't really have the funds for that, and obviously just the funds alone to compete in the series with the car is quite high. So for me, I almost looked at it like our season was almost over after 2 good rounds at the beginning. But we come home and had to think about it and have a chat to a few people. And the 6-litre that was in the car now is actually one of my old engines. We had a few dramas with it. Just we had the wrong size valves in it, and they were a bit too heavy, and so it was just making a bit of metal. So we gave that back to TAW, and he redid the bearings in it, just make sure they were all right, and sorted out all our head gaskets and regat the pistons and stuff, so that way it was a little bit less compression. And then obviously just to try and accommodate for the boost. And then we sent the short, so we left the supercharger in Ireland, and we brought the heads back with us when we came back, and we got the heads fully serviced and checked, and new valve springs put in and a new valve because one of the pistons collected a valve. And I actually didn't take any clothes over when we went back, but we put the heads in my suitcases, and we put the head gaskets in my dad's suitcase, and we sent the short motor over in a little crate, and luckily we had another problem as well. We got there, and the engine was meant to arrive the Thursday before we got there, and we arrived on the Friday, and the engine actually hadn't landed on Friday. It landed so we landed in the morning, and it landed on Friday at 5 p.m.
Oh, right.
And then they didn't obviously get to do a customs check on it, and I'm not sure if people know how customs work, but they've got a 3-light system, red, green and yellow. If it's green, they get to go through without being checked. And if it gets yellow or red, they have to be checked. So it was a mad rush trying to run around, hoping that it was going to get a green check light. And luckily enough, we got a green check light. If it didn't get a green check light, then we would have had to wait till Monday, and then we would have lost 4 days in getting the car ready and putting the motor together, because there was only obviously a short motor at the time. So it was just a massive stuff around, and freaking, it was just crazy. And obviously we've been there on the Friday. We didn't have any accommodation in Dublin, so we would have had to go on up to the north and then come back down on the Monday to get the engine. So lucky enough, we got the green light and we got it out. And had a massive rush. It was 7 days to build the motor and get it back in, and managed to do it.
I can relate to the no clothes thing. On one of my trips back from the US, I put all my clothes in a box and sent it USPS, and I brought a Lenko back in my suitcase, which when I got to customs, I think there was a red light on. Now listen, I got to ask you, Mitch, tell me about Franco.
That's my favourite car out of all.
It's our favourite too.
It's an awesome looking car. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so it's a KD70 Corolla.
Yeah.
It's called a Franco because it's been chopped up and turned into a bit of a Frankenstein. I've made a full custom front end for it, so it's all custom bumper and lights and everything like that, so it looks a little bit different. But the main part of why it's called Franco is it's got a S13 rear end in it, so full Sylvia rear end, so the independent IRS with fully adjustable camber toe and escaping my mind now. High caster so you can adjust the toe, and obviously a lower control arm. So it's got 4 different pickup points, and it's got a big Sylvia diff in it, so R200 diff with big 5-bolt axles, and so basically it's like an F13 on a Corolla body but on steroids. So it's kind of cool. And
it is cool looking. And
the front end's got full S13 front end as well. So it's basically a Sylvia with a Corolla body on top of it.
Hey, Mitch, while we got you, so tell us plans for 2019. Are you able to elaborate on what you'll be up to next year?
Well, that's the hardest thing at the moment is we're only in December at the moment, so trying to get sponsors on board for next year. We're only just coming into the opportunity for that now.
Yep.
I've obviously got ideas and things I'd love to do. I'd obviously love to drive every weekend if possible and drive as much as I can. Obviously, I love the IDC. I love the fans there, and they all want to see me come back. So I would love to make it back to another IDC round or two.
Yep.
But my goal next year won't be another full season. For me, I think I want to go forward with drifting, and I want to keep trying to push myself and get myself out there, and obviously try and push my sponsors with me and give them a bit more of opportunity and exposure.
Yep.
And for me, I think as well, I want to step it up. And so for me to step up now, I think it's either Drift Masters, and I said to myself last year, halfway through the season, that Drift Masters is where I want to go next year. Drift Masters is a European Championship which goes all through Europe and is classed as probably the second biggest series in the world. This year, from coming second in the IDC Championship, I actually earned a Formula Drift Pro license, which is obviously, like I said earlier, Formula Drift is the pinnacle of drifting in my eyes. It's been around since forever for me. I think it's 17 years or something like that it's been around. And yeah, like it's got all the biggest and craziest drivers in the world with the biggest budget. It's almost like the V8 supercars of Australia in drifting in the world. So obviously that's big budget and it's corporate and it's massive. It's not something easy to try and get into, obviously, but obtaining a license and being able to be a part of that, if I can get the funds and the sponsors behind me, that would be a major thing. But I am actually in talk at the moment with a few people in trying to make that happen. Whether or not it comes through for this year, if it won't be this year, hopefully the year after.
Yep.
But we do have things in the works that hopefully we can at least go over to Formula Drift and have a look at a round or two and just be a part of it and see how it all works. And if not, we'll see how we go. But we just got to wait and see if sponsors want to play ball and see how we go.
Well, we want to try and give you a bit of a hand with that. So we want to reach out to all our listeners to vote for Mitch for the Fans Driver of the Year. And Nick, if you can...
So that's on the IDC website. If you go to the IDC website, I actually voted for you last night, Mitch, so you can still get on there and vote. So, to all of our listeners, get onto the IDC website and vote for Mitch Larner, Fans Driver of the Year. That's under IDC Pro, by the way.
WA to the front.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mitch, is there any sponsors? I know Mum and Dad, they're pretty pivotal in all this, and I know Richard and Ursula Bradley. Is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, my mum and dad, obviously they're a massive help to this. Not only in what they do with their business to help me, and obviously my dad's knowledge in LS Motors, and obviously coming with me as well. We've done 16 trips overseas now, and obviously couldn't have done it without him. But just the support of my family and my friends, that's a major thing for me. And like I said, Richard and Ursula, they're more my family more than anything else. They gave us a home for my car, like me and my dad. And also Ethan, that came over and helped us for a couple of rounds this year. They also housed him as well. I'd like to thank, obviously, Lost Racing. They've been behind me since I started my competitive drifting career, and they've been with me non-stop and always support me week in, week out. Every single car I've built, they've helped me with all the products they can. Rapid Crushing have been on board as well for a long time. Dean Irvine. He's obviously been a major help as well. For a while there, we had Outlaw Mechanical. Haven't spoken to him in a little while, but I'm still obviously very internally grateful for his support that he has over the years as well.
Yep.
And yeah, basically all my fans and everybody else that supports me, I couldn't do it without obviously any support. So,
Yeah.
and obviously you guys as well for reaching out and getting in contact with me and helping push my story as well. That's a massive thing for me. So,
Well,
thank you guys for that as well.
We also need to thank Wayne. Wayne is a mutual friend of your father. I think Wayne uses your father for his drag racing needs. Wayne Pratt, that is, as well. He suggested to me
definitely.
a couple of times to reach out to you. So thanks to Wayne as well, because I know he's your number one fan, to be frank.
Yeah, no, definitely. The Pratt's family have been a great major support of my parents for a long time, and obviously myself as well.
Yeah.
And every time he comes to the workshop, he always has a big smile on his face, and the kids love it. And the kids walk around with my shirts and my hats and stickers and everything, and they love it. So
Yeah.
I say it's all the people like Wayne and his family that come and support me that make me want to keep drifting and make me want to keep putting on a show for all of them. So definitely a big thanks to them.
Yep. Hey, where can we find information about yourself? I know Mitch Larner 111 is one of your Facebook pages. Is there anywhere else?
Yeah, so, like I said, I've got a Facebook page, it's Mitch Larner 111. I'm also on Instagram with the same thing, Mitch Larner. You can find our hashtag with hashtag Mitch Larner 111.
Yep.
And I'm also starting a business next year for anyone who is listening and wants to see what drifting's about. I'm starting a business called Pro Drift Rides next year. I've actually already started the company, but it's had a bit of a break with all the drifting I've been doing with myself overseas this year and last year. But next year, Pro Drift Rides is making a comeback, and we're going to be holding drift passenger rides with myself and a team of 5 cars. And so anyone wants to come for a ride, you guys can come see me at the track and come for a ride with us as well.
I'll tell you what, Mitch, I just saw a video the other night of you. It's from Barbagallo Raceway. The car...
The tip-in.
The tip-in is not just the tip-in. The back of the car is actually overtaken the front of the car, and you're going into the corner with the back first, so you still managed to hold it. I don't know how you do that. It's an amazing trick, that one.
Yeah, it's called backwards entry, that one. It's good.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was really... If you haven't seen it, I urge our listeners to go to your Facebook page, and just watching that video is worth it. It's amazing. It really is. I'll actually share it on our Facebook page as well, because it really is
I'll
something
do one
special.
better for you guys. If you both come to the track and I can take passage next, I'll take both of you for a ride and show you what it's like in the car.
Oh, good. There you go. All right.
You know those little bags that they have in the airplanes? You're going to need one for Nick.
We'll get an open face helmet and put a camera on you as well.
Hey, Mitch, I might take you up on that. I'd enjoy that thoroughly, I reckon. Hey, Mitch, we'll let you get back to it. We really appreciate your time tonight. We wish you all the best for next year as well, and have a great Christmas and New Year, and take care and look after yourself, and we wish you all the very best, and thanks for coming on.
And thanks for taking the time out, mate. We appreciate how busy your schedule is, and I can't fathom putting in as many laps as you do in a year. It's ridiculous. But so we really appreciate it, and I'm sure all our listeners do as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So all the best for this coming season.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys. Have a good Christmas as well, and appreciate you guys for the support and getting us on the show.
No worries, Mitch. Take care.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, another magnificent interview with young Mitch Larner. Great to see him going places, young Mitch.
Isn't it amazing how many awesome motorsport exports WA has managed to produce? And, in Mitch's case, I mean, it's one thing to, like in the case of Daniel Ricciardo, go over, be part of a team and basically follow the deal around the world. But you're basically in that. Whereas with him, he's on the international scene with the Irish Drift Championship, second, and very close second at that.
Definitely, yeah.
But he also won the local championship. How amazing is that? I mean, travelling between the two countries and the logistics of it, the maintenance on the cars, incredible effort from him, his whole family, the whole crew. Unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it certainly is. It certainly is. It's great to see him going so well indeed.
So what's not a very incredible effort is the UPS tracking.
No, I'm a bit disappointed with UPS. We made a bit of a joke about them on the Facebook page. The joke's actually getting worse. It is funnier. It depends on how you look at it.
Well, for me, it's getting worse. It might be funny for everyone else. So basically, our diff centre, and because the Motorplex wants to run the radial deal over a quarter mile, even though the rest of the world runs it over the eighth. But anyway, so our diff centre, our wheels and tyres are in a large box that, according to UPS tracking, was destined to be delivered at 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 6th of December, which was last week.
Yep. And as we record, it's the 11th of December. So it's still in Honolulu.
It's in Honolulu. I believe that Hawaii 5-0 have the radials in custody. And that Steve and Dano are going to book him with Murder Nova. But anyway, it's another story. So keep an eye out for the tracking. The tracking number's there if you want to track it yourself. Yeah. This is just typical of what happens to us in Talk and Power when we're trying to put a car together on a schedule. On that note, the Camry. The Camry. So we're very close. There's a couple of small details left. One of those details are the lifters. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Japanese overhead cam style engines, ones that don't run rockers run a lifter directly under the cam that acts directly on the valve, and that's how the Camry setup is. Now, I ordered the week before last 24 lifters because they generally have the shim on the top of the bucket. We want to go to a shim under bucket setup because I've been told that they flick the shim out at high RPM if you get valve float. This is common with other motors like 2JZs and so on and so forth. So I ordered 24 of the buckets and some shims so that we can work out what thickness shims we need. Mm-hmm. And they reassured me that they would also be here on Thursday. And I got an email today. And it's not the supplier's fault. The supplier, did the right thing and advised me today. It's the manufacturer's fault. So I got an email today that we will see them late January, early February.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, no. It didn't say that. What it said was that the manufacturer will have them in stock again late January, early February.
That kind of puts a dent in things, doesn't it? Yeah.
So once again, the Talk and Power deadline motor vehicle curse strikes again.
Look, that's okay. There's probably still things we can do. We can get the bottom end together, I guess. And
we can. Now the question that I've got, we've got the schedule for the Perth round of the supercars, right?
Yep.
Will we be able to get the Camry to Barbagallo's to get a hot lap down to see whether we can go around faster than the trucks?
Yeah, definitely. This is not till May, so we've got plenty of time.
Plenty of time?
Jeez, I just recorded myself saying that. So, yeah, that's not till May. So, yeah, definitely. We need to get down to Barbagallo and put a lap in.
Put a lap in and compare it with the
trucks.
The trucks. The not-so-super trucks.
Not-so-super trucks. I'm looking forward to that. So, actually, so the Perth rounds have been not revised, but as we know, they're going to be night races. So there will be a Friday night race at 6 p.m. and a Saturday night race at 6 p.m. So that's going to be quite exciting, and they will start obviously in the dusk of the evening and then finish in full day night time.
Do you think that's going to work?
From a telecast point of view, yeah, because it'll be 8 p.m. in the eastern states and fitting quite well, I think, with their viewing over there.
What about from a mosquito point of view?
Look, Wanneroo's not too bad that time of the year, but it'll be fresh, I'll give you the tip. In May in Wanneroo, believe me, it'll be fresh. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll create a few challenges for the event organisers, but I like to see Perth getting behind something a little bit different.
So you're something a little bit different would be to have it on Riverside Drive.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're obviously going.
Yeah, I'll be going.
You've locked it in.
Yep.
Are you going to bring like a little camping kit? Maybe light a little fire next to the track. Have some cocoa, some marshmallows.
The years gone by, I used to camp out on Wattle Ave actually with my mates. I got some great video footage of that years ago in the 90s.
You'll have to share that.
In the 90s? Yeah, this was in the 90s. You could camp out on Wattle Ave, and it was...
I didn't even know you were born then.
Yeah, it was a free-for-all back then. So you used to be able to do burnouts up and down Wattle Ave, and it was crazy. People used to light
when
massive
you say
fires.
you used to be able to...
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't do that. You can't camp there anymore now. It's the ranger come down on you like a ton of bricks.
No.
As soon as the event's
Can't get
over...
a permit?
No.
Oh.
No camping at all. So anyway, that's...
So, on the subject of the supercars, Richie Stanaway.
Yeah, Richie was mutually, I don't know whether it was a mutual agreement, but they parted ways from Tickford Racing.
Gone.
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 Yeah. Look, his performance wasn't the best this year. He was a young guy.
He didn't get the tick from Tickford.
No. He got a big cross, actually. So,
CrossFit Racing?
They've actually, the unsettling news is they've actually handed in a contract as well, a racing entitlement contract.
Well, 23 Reds picked that up, if I'm understanding that correctly. I watched a interview with the owner. He owned 40-something panel shops and sold them recently, more than likely to an insurance company. And he's very excited about entering into the foray. But they're a one-car team at this point in time.
Yeah.
It's... You know, when you look at the larger outfits where they have their own in-house CNC machining and, you know, chassis building facilities and so on, do you think that a one-car outfit is going to be able to cut the mustard, so to speak?
Probably not, no. And there's been examples of that not working in the past. I think the best way to do it is the way that they're doing it, however, coming under the umbrella of Tickford Racing at the very least, and they'll have the backup of the Tickford team.
Yep.
However, there's still a seat available because, as we know, Richie's gone and Mark Winterbottom's gone as well, so there's still one seat available. So,
and do you think the deciding factor with Tickford and Stanaway, parting company, was his performance this season?
It was his performance and also his attitude as well. There's a couple of races there where he didn't respond to requests of the team in a positive manner.
Oh, that sounds a lot like... a certain Formula 1 driver too, doesn't it?
It does. But that one driver, it was at least putting runs on the board where Richie wasn't. So anyway, look, I mean, I wish Richie well. It's uncertain about what he'll be doing next year. He's got great talent. I think he'll pop up somewhere, but unfortunately we won't be seeing him in a supercar at all.
Well, speaking of Formula 1, the FIA had their prize-giving ceremony for 2018.
Mate, it was awesome. It was great. If you haven't seen it, go to the Formula 1 Facebook page. Kimi Räikkönen, off his chops.
Blind.
No other way of putting it. Sorry, Kimi, but he was absolutely toast. But it was great to see a bit of personality from him. And Sebastian Vettel as well. I don't know, November finished last month or 11 days ago, but he's got this moustache happening as well. So, it was quite interesting. But
well, he might be doing some porn on the side in the off-season.
It was terrible. It was absolutely... But, look, Kimi, what can I say? He was absolutely... He was flying. He was up there with... He was flying anyway.
Well, it's good to see that these guys have got a sense of humour and,
They have, yeah. Hey, they've announced the final driving. So if you go back to our website, I've got on my blog there, I had a predictor halfway through the year. Got some of them right, got most of them wrong, to be frank. But some of them got right. Anyway, look, so Ferrari's locked in with Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Yeah. They say Charles Leclerc is how they actually say
Charles
it.
Leclerc.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc.
The C at the end silent, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Hey, Haas has gone with a proven combo of Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. They haven't changed.
So would that be rich energy in French would be re-energy?
So they're the new energy drink that have come on board with Haas, and it really surprised me to see Haas do away with the Haas name from their car and going to be labelled Rich Energy. It's going to be really interesting to see because I always felt that Gene Haas leveraged a lot of his Formula 1 aspirations on the name Haas. So it's just interesting to see them.
Yeah, but they are the manufacturer of the car.
That's correct, yeah.
So it's still a Haas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's probably, from an engineering point of view, or from an engineer's point of view, that's what you want. You want that McLaren badge, or you want, so to have your name on the car. It doesn't matter who's paying for the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know. He might own part of Rich Energy.
Possibly, yeah. Oh, look, I don't know. But anyway, interesting. That was interesting. We spoke about that a couple of episodes ago. McLaren going Lando Norris. He's come up through the tiers, and I didn't think he had enough points to get his Formula 1 licence, but I could stand corrected, obviously. And obviously, Carlos Sainz Jr., as we knew, he will be the lead driver there at McLaren. So It's great to see Carlos Sainz Jr. get a drive there. The Mercedes team unchanged, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri, they'll remain there. We have a name change here. With Lawrence Stroll purchasing Force India. They've changed their name to Racing Point Formula 1 team. So they've kept Sergio Perez, and Lawrence's son, Lance, will be racing the second car for
Do you think that Racing Point is a correct name? Do you think they should have chosen a different name? Like what's the point? Or?
I asked myself the same question. But look, Lawrence Stroll, one of the richest men in the world. It'll be interesting to see if he can turn that team around. Force India had some success in their early years.
It is an American-owned sport now, so he could be able to just buy the championship.
Well, he's Canadian, so who knows?
Yeah, they might not want it to go to Canada. Good point. So well, they've let the English win, so
that's true. That's true.
A bit of irony, really, when you think about the Mercedes deal. Yeah, because it's a German car with an English driver.
Well, it's even though it's a German car, it has strong roots back to England. Yeah. So
I mean, World War II and everything. You would, I don't know. 60 years ago,
Winston
70
Churchill,
years ago.
His legacy is forgotten.
Well, I guess it was all over with the Volkswagen, wasn't it, really? Anyway.
Red Bull Racing, Aston Martin, Red Bull Racing, they've got a lineup, Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen. Looking forward to that combination. I think they'll work well together.
That whole Aston Martin...
It's just name.
I know.
It's like,
but it's silly,
Haas.
Isn't it? Isn't it? No, and that's not like Haas. Because the Haas... They build the car, so that's a Haas.
No, but they've now pimped themselves out to Rich Energy.
So yeah, but the car's still a Haas.
Yeah.
McLaren's still a McLaren. It's got a sponsor's name on it. Aston Martin has got nothing to do with that car.
Treat it as a sponsor. Yeah, look, I agree. If it had Aston Martin running gear, it'd probably might be more reliable, actually. But anyway, Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen make their driving combination for next year.
Renault,
Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hulkenberg.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah.
If they've ironed all the bugs out, Daniel's going to give it to him.
Yeah. I watch this space 2020 is all I can say. Watch this space for 2020. Let's not hold our breath for 2019. I think 2020 will be easier.
Now this one's got me. Why Alpha would want to put their name on the Sauber?
So they have a tie-up with Ferrari. The Sauber runs a Ferrari drivetrain. So Alfa Romeo have got again, very similar to Aston Martin. No Alfa Romeo running gear in that car, but the tie-up with manufacturers is strong now in branding their brands.
But put the Alpha name on the Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The sorbet, it sounds like something you eat, a sorbet or something. You know what I mean? Anyway.
So they'll have Kimi Räikkönen on board, so they've done the swap there. Charles has gone to Ferrari and Kimi has gone to Sauber, and they've got a new driver as well, Antonio Giovinazzi. This is really good. So he's an Italian driver, and it's great to see some Italians coming through the ranks. Can't wait to see how he goes in the Sauber. Red Bull, the Toro Rosso team, Danny Kvyat, I'll tell you what, that's an amazing comeback for him, and Alexander Albon as well. That's probably the last driver announcement that we had. That was only last week, so he's in there. And Williams, talk about a comeback, Robert Kubica. Amazing. He hasn't been in a Formula 1 car for 8 years.
Yep.
Suffered a horrific rally crash. Really hurt himself quite badly and has made his way back after 8 years back into a Formula 1 car back in Williams.
I haven't driven the BA for 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ex-wife for about 8.
Robert's been out of it for double that. And young British George Russell, be great to see him, how he goes into Williams as well. I'm looking forward to that as well. It's great British heritage there. So, yeah, no, some interesting times ahead.
So we've got the pod filter coming up, Nick.
Yeah, yes, we have. That's next Monday. We'll be going down to Armidale, recording an episode of the pod filter.
Yeah, has there been any resolution about the Armidale versus Balcatta Hoon Capital?
I have been working on that. Unfortunately, I've hit a roadblock, and I don't know if I want to get into it here, but anyway, I will. I've contacted the Department of Transport's office, Rita Safiotti, and they said they don't carry those numbers or figures. That we need to go to the WA Police Department. Did that. They don't carry those numbers or figures either, which I find very hard to believe.
You need to do the FEA.
Freedom of Information.
Why is it called an FEA?
I don't know.
But finite element analysis.
I didn't want to bog down too much into it and do
Must
that.
Must be an FOA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find it amazing.
You know, there's an engineer that I know that was doing some statistical work for and this might be a department that you might want to aim your inquiries to, the road safety section of the, I believe it's of the Department of Transport.
Yep.
And he was shocked at how they went about coming up with certain statistics, because the statistical data, or the collection of statistical data, and the way they did it was very filtered, so that you deliberately couldn't make assertions. Like, for example, if you tried to get the statistics on how many car accidents involved modified vehicles versus standard vehicles, I'll guarantee you they won't be able to provide it to you.
Yeah.
And it's because they deliberately don't collect it. And this may be the same thing, because if you found that most of the hooning occurred in a particular area, there would be a fair argument to say that, well, you should have more of a police presence in that area. True?
Yep.
But then if you followed that up by finding that there is more of a police presence in that area, then how can you know for sure that the hoon activity is greater there? It just happens that you've got more police there that are catching the people in the act. For all we know, the hoon capital of Western Australia could be Nedlands or Dalkeith.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, both departments said that they don't carry those numbers, and I don't believe that for 1 minute. I do believe that they have those numbers and figures available to them, just not making them available to us. I did say it was for a podcast, and we wanted to have a chat about it, but clearly not available at this stage.
Now you're heading down to Custom Cars and Coffee.
Yep.
And there's a radial event on.
There's a big radial event on. There's sort of the showcase of the day. So it's the Custom Cars and Coffee final end of season meet, which is always a big one down at the track. I went last year and it was huge.
End of year.
End of year. Yep.
So not hardly a season.
Oh,
is there a season of cars and coffee? What do you do in the off season? I suppose it is, but it's not really. It's not end of season, because this would be in the middle of the season. It's summer.
Oh, okay.
End of season would be winter, wouldn't it?
End of whatever you want to call it.
End of year.
End of year.
Christmas special.
Custom Cars and Coffee. We're
going
to be
the Custom Cars and Coffee Christmas special. Try and say that fast.
I will be down there, and hopefully catching up with all the radial races. Those that want to have a chat, and anyone that wants to have a chat, by the way, we'll be catching up with Jason Fuller, that is, as well. I haven't reached out to Corey yet, but he's the MC of the day. Corey Marriott will be MCing. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow. You should have
Corey on as a guest.
Yeah, we want to have him on as a guest as well. And any radial racer, if they got the time, I will try and catch them before scrutineering. If not, afterwards, I'll be there anyway. So come down. If you are there, come down and say hello. And that will be our final podcast of the year. This is
so you're going to have a stand there.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all been done and organised. So I'm ready to go. And I spoke with Jason up until today, and he's really looking forward to having us down there. All right. Also, I just want to touch on, got some news over the weekend. Curtin University, we spoke with them on episode 37 of the Talk and Power podcast, caught up with Sam from Curtin University, the Curtin Motorsport team. They actually had their the Australasian Formula SAE during the week. They actually came first in the business presentation, second in the Auto X, and they placed 6th overall. That was out of 34 teams.
Wow.
So I haven't got the full details yet. This has only just been sort of come out today. But well done to those guys. Actually, my wife's cousin is in that team as well.
WA to the front again.
WA to the front. It was really great. Great to see those guys and girls do so well at Curtin. So well done to that team there. All right, as I said, this is our last podcast, our last official podcast in here in the studio for 2018. And there's a few people I'd like to thank before we finish up. So, firstly, I'd like to thank, basically, starting off at the start of the year, Jamie Paolucci of Race Wars, Po Tung from Grudge Kings, Custom Cars and Coffees, Jason Fuller, Speedway's Andrew Priolo, Summer Nats Grand Champion Mark Happy Williams, Motivation Grand Champion Ralph Italiano, Clint Di Giovanni, Johnny Alardi, who's also won at the WA Hot Rod and Street Machine Spectacular, and also Sam and the entire team from Curtin University. Also, big shout out to Luke Newhoff, who sat in that chair for one episode this year. That was great. Also, Stewie Bond was instrumental in getting us down to 24 hours of lemons, so big thanks to him. And he's also been helping out a lot with the Camry as well. Tracy DeJager, the Outlaw Nitro Funny Car driver, sportsman racer and founder of the Quarter Mile Drag Racing Experience, Kyle Putland. Also, of course, how can we forget Kelly Betts? Australia's first female Top Fuel champion. Also Harry Haig for coming on, and of course tonight Mitch Larner as well. But our biggest thanks goes out to this man who sits right here, Simon Gonzo Travellini, and his family, his lovely wife, and his baby son as well, for the time he gives up for this podcast and these crazy car builds that he's coming along with, and just all the stuff that we do. We can't do this without this man here, so I just want to thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. Now, we've got some big news for the next series. We might not be in there, but we're building a studio.
Yep.
Dedicated to Talk and Power. I think Nick's going to post up some sneak pics.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll transition from not just a podcast to more of a web show. Yep. And we'll be able to get the guests in. Yeah. Have a real green room.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's been not problematic, but the Balcatta studio, which is
and the background noise of guys doing burnouts and continuously.
Has so yeah. Look, we're making a few changes. I'm really looking forward to 2019 because this was more of a bit of a consolidation year on our 2017.
We've got the Camry.
Yep.
BA Baracus coming back with the small tyre. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the XY at some stage or another. We'll find time for that.
Yep.
Then we've got some other sneaky projects going on in the background.
We can't say too much. And I'd also like to thank my wife and my kids as well for the time. Well, they basically vacate their house whenever we do these things, and also help me out with
I think that's by choice, Nick, actually, to be honest with you.
All right, and you know what? We can't do this as well without our listeners and the feedback we get. Like people that I was just talking about before, Wayne.
And our sponsors. Yeah. Don't forget our sponsors.
Our sponsors as well, of course. Yeah, we can't do this without our listeners. And our sponsors, Stewie Bond from WA Suspensions, All Fast Torque Converters, of course.
Jamie from Shift Kits.
Yeah, Jamie from Shift Kits Australia. Johnny from Benzene Detailing. Also, the crew at SCM as well for helping us out with parts along the way. Trevor James, BG Mechanical, whatever he calls it. BG Mechanical, sorry. Also, Matt, the air conditioning guy, has helped us out a fair bit. Scotty Bryson.
Mac 1 air conditioning. Scotty
Bryson helped us out a fair bit. big thanks to David Norell.
Yep.
He is always there, hands on tools.
He's
ready.
there more than Nick.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy, David. I got a lot of time for him.
Considering it's not his show.
Simon and myself are trying to find him a wife too, by the way.
Yeah, that's still out there. Anyone knows any single women?
Don't know if you can help us out with that, but if you can, that would be great. Also, young Travis as well, that helps us out. He's
Travis
great.
Freeman, yes.
Yep, and Breno as well. Brendan,
Breno, of
he
course.
helps us out a lot. And if there's anyone forgotten,
Asher,
of course.
Asher.
Yep. He's actually
setting up the new studio.
He's renovating it. He's
Building the studio.
painting, spac filling, all those sorts of jobs that are not exciting, but he's doing that as we speak. So
And
he's a great guy.
as Nick has already mentioned, without our listeners, without our thousands of devoted fans, would be no point.
Yeah, we wouldn't do this.
The podcast would be. So from both of us,
Yep.
we thank you for tuning in and listening to and watching our crazy antics. And we hope that we keep you entertained, and we promise you that you ain't seen nothing yet. So to all of you from all of us, Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Take care, guys.
See you on the street.
Talk and Power stresses all characters and events on this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. We do not encourage street racing or the use of turbochargers.